This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. Jenny was never afraid of anything. Even as a kid, you couldn't get a scare out of her. Not with spiders, not with snakes, not with nothing. Billy Krychuk once snuck a dead bat into her rain boots at school. She dissected it for extra credit. At Halloween, the kids would bet each other how many seconds they could stand on creepy Mrs. Wheeler's porch. Jenny won with an hour and a half. Nothing could shake her. That is, until last summer when that maniac got on the loose. Just looking at the wanted poster, you knew the guy was a classic psycho. Dirty trench coat, one crutch, broken glasses, and a wool cap. Mrs. Potter turned off her kitchen light one night to find him staring right back at her through the window. Henrietta Grimsby from 12th grade looked in her rearview mirror at the drive-in and saw him sitting in the back seat. So when Jenny's parents insisted she couldn't stay alone while they flew off to Aunt Mabel's wedding in Kapitsky, Jenny had other ideas. The biology final was only 4 weeks away, and there was work to be done on her elongated grub study. Jenny looked forward to a quiet weekend. Just her and the grubs. And Duke, of course. Oh, didn't I mention the family dog? 180 pounds of serious canine. I mean, the girl wasn't completely stupid. She studied for a little while, locked the door, and hit the sack early, with Duke on the floor beside her. But then there was a banging noise, then a series of dull thuds. Jenny's heart beat hard in her chest, her breathing shallow and quick as she stared blindly round her pitch-black room. Jenny pulled her foot out from under the covers and was searching for her slippers on the floor below, when she felt the gentlest of licking on the tips of her toes. Duke was sleeping under the bed. He'd be barking his head off if there was some maniac in the house, right? So Jenny just said, "Good dog," rolled over and went back to sleep. Minutes later, she was sitting straight up in bed, terrified. This time, the noise was more like a scraping and a grunting and a kind of slobbering coming from deep in the belly of the house. Again, her foot searched for the slippers, and again, a reassuring lick or two convinced Jenny that all was well. The third time Jenny woke up, she was nearly paralyzed with fear. The sound was a cry, a long, mournful wailing, like something from the dead, like a madman. Jenny tried to calm down. It was probably the wind, or maybe she'd left the TV on. She knew she had to go downstairs, but it was all she could do to pull her feet out from under the covers and swing them off the side of the bed. Again, there was a gentle licking. Duke was still there. So Jenny made her way to the door and down the stairs and into the deserted kitchen. Moonlight streamed through the window, throwing shadows across the tile and up the walls and over the cellar door. The cellar door. Whatever was making that horrible noise was there, down in the basement. So Jenny swallowed hard, reached for the doorknob, pulled the door open, and tried not to shudder as she flicked on the one little bulb. There was Duke, all sad and howling. Tail between his legs, empty packets of hamburgers scattered around, and an ashamed kind of look on his face. That's what all that noise had been. The slobbering and scraping and howling. The dog had been locked in the basement and... Then it hit her. How could the dog be locked in the basement? He'd been licking her feet the whole night. Then Jenny looked out the window, and there he was, running away from the house. Dirty trench coat, broken glasses, one crutch, and a wool cap. He looked back over his shoulder and shouted to Jenny, "I can lick too!" This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. Oh, Jenny was all right. She screamed and fainted and woke up with the dog really licking her feet this time. And she realized dogs do lick different than humans. They slobber less.